Hey guys, welcome back to Ace Recaps. Today I'm going to be explaining a 2021 sci-fi mystery thriller film titled, Awake. The movie begins with a security guard named Jill, who is seen stealing illegal substances from her place of work. She sells it off for a quick buck and heads off to her mother's house for a visit with her kids, over whom she's lost custody due to her troubled past. Her daughter Matilda and son Noah aren't thrilled about going with their mother, but are forced to do so. As they continue driving, the car loses power and Jill smashes into another vehicle heading towards them before they fall into a nearby lake. All of them seem to be unhurt, and so Jill does everything in her power to get her beloved kids to safety. She struggles to get her children out, and when Jill surfaces along with Noah, she sees Matilda on the shore being resuscitated by a police officer. She spits out all of the water and the cop explains to them that all electronics are out, and urges them to rush to a hospital as soon as possible. As they get there, the emergency room is overcrowded with people and strangely enough, the coma patients begin waking up. The staff, not having any time to tend to the little girl, tell her to go back home as she seems to be alright and there is no way of conducting any scans since all the machines are down. They get back home and her mother is extremely disappointed in her daughter but is asked to stay the night because everything seems to be going haywire. That night, nobody is able to fall asleep except for Matilda. Jill decides to go to the pharmacy to buy some sleep aids, but runs into her friend who promises to buy off any downer meds for double the price because everyone in the town is now after it since nobody can fall asleep. Jill overhears them explain that anything with a microchip is fried, but cars pre-1980s didn't have any, so they still work just fine. She goes back to the hospital she works at to steal more, but is confronted by her former army boss Murphy, who reveals that there's mass insomnia but one woman can sleep. A solar flare caused every human on Earth to lose the ability to sleep. Everyone is now adamant on finding out how this woman is able to do so and are performing various tests on her to find the answer before it's too late. They've only got a few days before everyone on Earth loses their mind and is unalived in the most gruesome manner possible. Jill tells another colleague Brian that her daughter was fast asleep that night, and he indicates that since she met with an accident, there's a huge chance that she's no more. Terrified, Jill rushes back but is relieved to find out that her daughter was doing just fine. She is informed that her mother has gone to the nearby church along with Matilda. At the church, when the anxious, sleep-deprived people realize that Matilda can fall asleep, they take it as a sign of God. The pastor shows them that there is still hope, but things start to take a bad turn very quickly. As expected, people start losing their mind after being deprived of just one day of sleep. They start turning on each other and decide to sacrifice the little girl as an apology to the one above. Luckily, Brian, Jill, and Noah arrive just in the nick of time. Brian tries to convince them to let the little girl go as the military needs her to find a cure. Unfortunately, this doesn't go as planned and he is shot through the eye by a local policeman. "Maybe you should have just shut your mouth, Brian." Panic ensues, and Jill's mother tells Matilda to run and hide. The crazy people turn on the old woman, but she is adamant on saving her granddaughter. Jill finds Matilda hiding in the corner, and along with her son, they escape, leaving the old woman behind. They run through the forest until they get to safety. Their only hope now is to get to the military camp, but Jill is skeptical about getting there. When she worked with Murphy years ago, she's seen her perform cruel and gruesome experiments on other humans and is suspicious of their intentions now. Noah, on the other hand, doesn't care about putting his sister through hell if there's a chance that they can survive. Because without them, there's no chance Matilda will be able to make it on her own, and so Jill agrees. She tells her kids to wait there and heads off to her friend's garage, only to find him gravely injured. His evil friends who've been doing illegal substances all day have been torturing the poor man. They repeatedly stomp on his head and he feels every bit of the pain as people don't even pass out now. "Wish they'd do this to my ex too." Jill hides for her safety but overhears the mechanics fix two cars and drive off. She manages to steal one of them and gets back to her kids. As they drive, they come across the evil men from before. They have met with an accident and have been unalived in the car crash. Jill walks up to them and grabs their gun for any future conflicts. They drive hundreds of miles all night and on the way they see a large group of people standing naked on the road. "I wish I could join them too. Clothes are too annoying." People are going crazier by the day, and even Jill seems to be feeling the effects but is adamant on getting her daughter to safety. They stop at an abandoned town and head off to a nearby library. She explains to Matilda that after she's gone, this place will be her source of information. She tries to teach her daughter to shoot, but the little girl is too afraid. Irritated, Jill opens fire in the building and almost shoots her own son, Noah. It's day 2 now, and we see that there's deterioration in the decision-making ability of people. Once they get out of there, they are intercepted by a large group of recently released prisoners, and one of them has stolen their car with Matilda asleep in the back. As the men inch closer to force themselves on Jill and her son, the car thief gets back in time and helps them escape as he realizes that Matilda is special. The 4 of them now head north towards the military camp and come across a massive plane crash. Why are they flying planes when they can't even sleep? As they look around, Jill teaches her daughter to suck out gasoline from vehicles around, and the poor girl coughs it all out. As they explore the crash site, Noah explains to the prisoner Dodge that his mother has no intention of turning her daughter into the military. They continue on their journey, and the little girl is now being taught how to drive. They come across a group of mad men on the street who try to force themselves into the vehicle, but they all luckily manage to escape in one piece. They finally get there and Dodge leaves with the car. Jill instructs Matilda to stay with her brother in an abandoned house that has enough food for a week, and if she doesn't come back in time, she needs to stay away from men and find a way to make it. Jill sneaks into the camp, and everyone there is so confused that they don't even piece together the fact that she's not from around there. As she goes up to the other woman who can sleep, she begs her not to draw any more blood as she's been tortured enough. This means that Jill was right all along. If Matilda is brought there, she'd be experimented on too. Jill begs the old woman to take care of her daughter once she's gone, but the woman claims that this is all wrong, and she was supposed to be dead. Distressed by the whole ordeal, Jill sneaks back out to get to her children, but spots Dodge arrive on the scene with both her kids, and they're all apprehended by the military. Noah convinced his little sister that the only way to help their mom survive was to surrender herself at the camp. Sad for him though, the selfish little prick is cuffed along with his mother in some corner while the scientists start performing various experiments on the little girl. Just then, the old woman passes away and everyone in the room starts to panic. All the soldiers around start hallucinating that the camp is under attack, and they start firing on each other and killing the scientists as they now think that everyone is against them. Delirious from lack of sleep, Jill keeps forgetting where she is and begs them to let her daughter go free. A confused soldier tries to shoot her and misses, so she somehow manages to escape. Her son on the other hand has been dragged away and is about to be unalived, but is luckily saved by Dodge just in time. Jill is now tasked with saving her daughter. She struggles to even walk but manages to get to her. When she gets there, Murphy has a knife to Matilda's throat. She threatens to kill her, but she falls dead to the ground as her assistant injected her with a lethal dose of medication because he knew that there was no more hope left. Jill and Matilda try to escape, but they discover Noah, who thinks he's gutting a fish but instead is playing with some electrical equipment and ends up frying himself. Looking at their loved one being electrocuted, the both of them panic and Matilda grabs the defibrillator and shocks Noah, but the charge sends the both of them flying. When Matilda wakes up a few hours later, the entire camp has been shut down as they've all unalived each other. Jill is clinging to her son's seemingly lifeless body, but he suddenly begins to breathe. He wakes up and the family reunites with joy. Jill knows that she won't make it much longer, but is glad that her kids are now capable of making it on their own. As a few more hours go by, Jill loses all her senses and isn't even capable of speaking now. The kids load her up onto one of the trucks and promise to continue living her legacy. Just then, something strikes Matilda. She has an epiphany, realizing that she can sleep because she had technically died in the car accident. Likewise, Noah was dead before she defibrillated him, giving them another chance at life. This was Mother Earth's way of clearing out the overpopulated planet. Wow, I'd say Thanos was kinder. She explains this to her brother and they decide to do the unthinkable. They carry their mom to a nearby lake and with a heavy heart, drown her. As soon as she stops breathing, they bring her out and Noah begins CPR. The movie ends as we watch the camera zoom in through Jill's lifeless eyes. The screen goes blank and we hear Jill gasp, meaning she made it too. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like the video please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.